Howdy, howdy, folks. Welcome to Grim Gaming. This is Grim. Today is July 20th, 2025. We're going to be playing the daily challenge on GeoGuessr. We're currently 565 days into our streak. We will hit 566 today. We will also be finishing off the week, hopefully finishing it off strong. We're currently have a um, one bronze this week, which is not what I was hoping for. But anyway, yeah, we'll just see where we go from here. As always, there are 5 3-minute rounds. Moving, panning, zooming is allowed, and we will not be moving. So let's jump into this, see where we're at. Possibly Thai or Cambo. Well, I can't tell if we appear to be driving left. Although parked wise, this is going to be Thai or Cambo. We'd have Thai poles, so it should definitely be Thailand. Just weird because you got mostly parked on this side and mostly like facing that way, and mostly parked on this side facing this way, which is what you would expect to be if you were driving right. But this vehicle here is pulling in from here, it looks like. I think this vehicle is pulling on this. That vehicle is parked. I don't know. What in the world? I don't know. It's got to be Thai because of the poles, right? Also a Thai flag. Okay. Yeah. I don't know area codes. I got 65065 and 064084. I think I saw somewhere. So I don't really know where that is. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and guess. Okay. It was actually pretty close to Bangkok. So not a bad guess there. Uh, Obviously not like a perfect guess, but not a bad guess at all. Speaking of poles, we do have what looks to be Chilean poles here. Yeah, this looks like it'd probably be Chile. Um, Looks like maybe drier hills. Although I can't tell if that's icy hill or just drier hills. I think these are just drier hills. I think. I'm probably going to regret this, but I think this is probably more northern Chile. Um, Not like super far north, but I think this is probably north of Santiago. Um, I don't. Man, we're gonna guess that Chile. Whoa! So I was kind of guessing between Santiago and Antofagasta. but just guessing the words Chile. Apparently this was Copiapia, Copiapio, Copiapo. Yes, Copiapo. Interesting. So it was dry hills. Not super far north, but north of Santiago. All right, we have Mexico. Not sure where this one is. Tropical. Um, does that make a difference? We got a bug. Sam's Club. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm looking for um just making sure I'm not missing any taxis because each Mexican city has specific taxis. I'm not seeing any language I've missed either. So it's like really not sure on this one. I think it's gonna be probably why is my thing? I think it's probably gonna be near Mexico City here. Oh, that was Acapulco. Interesting. Are any of these red cars the a taxi then? No, we got blue and white. Okay. Yeah, blue and white taxis. That's right for Acapulco. So we have like white blue fenders, white blue fenders, white blue fenders. Lots of bugs though. I should have guessed. Yeah, Acapulco has a lot more bugs than most places. Generally, if I see a bug, I go Mexico anyway. But like even within Mexico, Acapulco has a lot more bugs. Partly because I believe there might be the only place that has bugs as taxis as well. Um, so we've seen a number of bug taxis here. Um, I think Acapulco may be the only place that has bug taxis. I'm not sure. It does have obviously multiple other styles, but yeah, yeah, just look at all the bugs here. Um, every major city in another bug there. Um, every major city in Mexico has its own uh, taxi coloration. Um, I did not see any taxis, and it wouldn't have really helped because I wouldn't have remembered what they were. Um, I used to know the taxis pretty decently. Same way I used to know the German bus stops pretty easily, because each German city has its own special, bus stops. Um, I don't remember those at this point. Let's be honest. It's been a long time since I've actually studied this. Not a bad score, especially for a big country like Mexico, though. So we do have yellow Is it a Brazilian pole, maybe? I think it is. Let's see if I can see another one. Yeah. Brazilian pole. I was gonna say we have yellow center lines. Pottery. Driving right. Um, you can also see the what we call it, Brazilian style poles here. This here, I'm not sure where it is. I do see like it kind of maybe feels like it could be coastal. Maybe I'm being misled by one single tree. Um, but there's another one out there. Yeah, so there are some tropical style trees, so possibly coastal. Um, I'm not sure where. Like I said, probably Miniscurus would be a decent hedge. Um, and Miniscurus was a pretty decent hedge. Like we lost 1,500 plus points, but for Brazil, this was actually pretty good. That was actually Piranha. Okay. Um, yeah, so that's actually not too bad. Now, unfortunately, I think we've even with a 25 or with a 5K, I wouldn't be able to. Yeah, I wouldn't be able. What do we have here? So we have these metal style poles here. This is a weird pole I'm not real familiar with. I think I've seen it before, but I have no idea where it is. Now these metal style poles here, um, huh, not sure. I said the metal style poles, like they're different styles, but you see metal poles in places like um, sometimes like Serbia, um, Turkey, Israel, sometimes Greece. I've seen some. You get some scatterings in other places as well. Um, these here, they don't have the holes that go all the way through, which you would, if you had the holes that went all the way through, it could be like Romania, Hungary, Poland, depending on how it looks, or um, even France in certain spots. Um, but this doesn't look like that. This is a very dry, hilly area. I think this is probably going to be because I don't see like a long antenna, which might indicate like Israel. Um, Honestly, this looks like it could be something like Turkey or something like that. I don't know where in Turkey it would be. Um, in Turkey, one thing that you would look for would be trash cans. Um, I can't read this trash can from here. On this front side, there may be something that has like a Melodicia, which would be like the oh crap. I didn't see anything, so I'm hitting accidental there. I did potentially got to a point where I could have panned and saw that. I did not. But yeah, like I said, I'm thinking it's probably turkey. Obviously, with our turkey, we generally do the Ankara Konya Kesari triangle. It's just a fairly good hedge. I generally try and maybe hedge maybe a little closer to the middle turkey area, um, just in case it happens to be Batman or something like that. Um, Not a lot to go on in here. I should have hedged towards the other side of the triangle. Sparta, Verdure. Um, Let me just, out of curiosity, I think it's about as far as I got there. Yeah, see, this I couldn't really tell for certain. whether it's Turkish or anything. Obviously, it wasn't going to be Israel, but it is a piece of equipment, so it wouldn't have to be. But if I see something where it's got the umlauts over all the letters and everything like that, I would generally think it could be Turkey. And unfortunately, I don't know if I've got. Here, let's try this. Okay. Yeah, so here's we right here. We got Burdur Belladicea. Yeah. Uh Belladiesi, I guess. I don't know. I don't have no idea how to pronounce it, but like I said, trash cans in Turkey are like literally gold mines for GeoGuessr information. Like that literally tells me right away that it's Burdur. Um, Burdur is visible even at this zoom level here. Like obviously it's not like the easiest to find, um, but that would have been basically a 5K there if I had been able to, like, if I had started, you know, at that particular spot. I mean, like, you can literally see the entirety of Turkey on your map. Um, well, not in the little small thing there, but like right now, like I can see Badur with the entirety of Turkey there. So like, sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes you have like places that are like smaller, almost neighborhoods of I'm not. It's been explained to me once in the past, I believe, what an actual Villa DC whatever is. It's not like just a city. It's some type of a municipal um, thing, uh, not specifically a city. So like, um, you would generally see like Izmir does have like Izmir. I believe I've seen Beledisi's and Gaziantep. But I have also seen smaller names within um, larger cities. So, but anyway, we didn't do terrible there. We did break 20K. That might actually be my best in a while. Um, I got very lucky here, there, kind of there, and there. This was less luck. I It wouldn't have helped, but if I had guessed like like this area here, like in my triangle here, I'd have gotten a lot more points. Like probably 4,200 or something like that by guessing here. Um, I could have maybe. I mean, big city with the mountains all around. Um, Maybe I could have um, guessed that it was. I don't know. I don't think so. But yeah, I mean, maybe with all with the bug visible, maybe I could have guessed Acapulco, but I don't think that's even like I said Acapulco does seem to have more bugs than most areas of Mexico, but they are very common in Mexico anyway. So I don't think I don't think that's a real meta that you could use to narrow it down to that one specific city. The only like I said, the only caveat to that is if you see a taxi bug, it's probably Acapulco, and then if you see it in those colorings, it will be Acapulco. Like I said, they're I don't remember the other colors and stuff like that, but yeah, the blue and the white, the white with the blue fenders is Acapulco. So, but anyway, the main thing though is that we did continue our streak. We are now at 566. Wow. And yeah. What did everybody guess? I guess probably Chile and Brazil. Wow, these are big countries, so I don't. Um, yeah, that's a nice guess there. Closer to Santiago. The dry hills made me guess up there. And that may be okay. He guessed over there, so um, yeah. And then he was closer on that. So basically, the main one was just this here. That's where the big difference in points was. He said small amount in Turkey, um, but quite a lot of points there. I'll just look at a couple people here. Yeah, a little further up there. Not sure on the Arge guess there. I guess he was probably really quickly trying to click Santiago. Obviously, I spend a lot more time on these um, than a lot of these people here. You know, I said, yeah, that Brazil one was rough, and then Romania. Maybe got fooled by those concrete poles, but and then see Cancun would like Cancun isn't how do I put this? Cancun makes sense for another big touristy destination because I mean basically you have the two big ones, the two big tourist destinations, are Acapulco and Cancun. However, Cancun does not have all the mountains here, and yeah, and they don't have a old 80s um 80s or 90s TV show that was kind of cool, because you had like Acapulco heat, you never had Cancun heat. Um, Cancun is like your spring break for all the college kids or whatever. Acapulco, not sure. It is another big tourist destination, but um, I would like to go to Acapulco actually. Anyway, yeah. Other than that, I said moving wise, I'm surprised. So like, Serbia, I guess. If you're moving, although I don't know, did he move 25 steps? I'm surprised you go Serbia there with any type of moving. Um, even with 14 seconds. Like, no, is it? It was four. Brazil here. Okay. No. Yeah. The Brazil is rough. Yeah, like I said, it's just a thing. Everybody was guessing a little further south on Chile than I would have guessed, just because, like I said, you see. But again, like I said, I did. Um, I think it was mine. See my this is the Chile. Yeah, like I said, I did spend a lot more time on that one, although I barely spent. I only spent a minute and 15 seconds on that. It's just like I said, it looked way too dry. Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just rambling. For some reason, I do that sometimes. But yeah. The main thing though is that we did continue our streak, and yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Y'all have a good day and be safe.